should have been knowledgeable of the fact that the People's National Party administration of that day would have paid off the IMF bill in 1995 and therefore had no need to go to the IMF to borrow any money. So that pronouncement when he said, if it were 20 years ago, we could not borrow, that is what you consider to be disinformation at its best.
And that is one point, that is only one, because the one that he has been riding
20 years ago, we couldn't borrow any money. That's also another instance of disinformation, because in 2005, we never had need to go to the IMF. So those are instances.
Members, let me show you guys something. I'm scrolling on YouTube, but I luckily to find this. You guys are live on YouTube. Somebody's recording the live. Members, let me show you guys something. I'm scrolling.
Somebody have the platform on YouTube.
Somebody's recording the live.
Yeah, man. They always do it. They restream it.
Okay.
That is a testament to the fantastic job that we're doing.
So what Singo is telling you guys is really, yeah, man.
But, member, or could we allow Simjio to present the other part of this information, because I think he was reading and he did not finish. Let us have him conclude that this information context. Miss Andis, right?
Of misinformation and disinformation can affect the ability to address public health, address climate change issue, and just to destabilize democracy. Right? So the most honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, when he went on the campaign trail on the night of the debate, when he went to South Africa and keep saying that he has cut the debt of Jamaica in half, that was disinformation. Because it wasn't one time, it wasn't two times. So it must be deliberate.
It's on
So now,
it's on page.
how can we?
No point of further information. It's on page 25 of the Jamaica Labour Party manifesto that they cut the debt in half, which is not true.
You're talking about the book of the Great Disaster. Because that's what I call it, the Book of Great Disaster.
PLI night, PLI. When you ask them, they're not sure they shouldn't put that. Go check it for yourself. Match up the things I'm in there with what I'm saying in my book and see if it's true.
And just for context, I remember in 2016, the Jamaican debt stood at $1.9 trillion in 2016 when the People's National Party lost the election. In 2024, the debt has moved to $2.2 trillion. And it will move further when the government accepts the $1 trillion loan, which they are borrowing now to deal with the issue of Melissa. So you're correct, member, in saying that was disinformation. And what the Prime Minister should have quoted, and we are glad that in the past couple of days he has corrected it and say that what has happened was the debt to GDP is what has been cut in half. Because in 2011, 2012, when the People's National Party won the general election, the debt to GDP was 147%. when they lost the election in 2016, it came down to 122.5. Today, it stands at 62%. Up to 2024, it came down to 62%. So the debt and debt to GDP are two separate things. But the Prime Minister is disingenuous in keep
Question
saying,
I should ask tonight.
But
Me need to
the thing
find.
is, yeah, but yeah, maybe
Daniel,
just on a
Daniel,
point of interjection.
just one second. In focus.
Mhm.
Daniel,
Yes, member.
when you find the video of the Prime Minister saying cut the debt in half, I want the public to say him said. And when you do that, we are going to switch it back. So I'm going to show you now with where him a second cheer to what him did say before.
But you know, why is he even taking? Why is he even taking or trying to say that he accomplished something that
But
was already
he
written
didn't
in
say
law?
accomplished part. When he
It was
recognize
written
say
in
no cut
law.
the debt in, when he no recognize say no debt him cut, I debt to GDP. When is it that he recognize that now?
Member,
Prime Minister speak on the
member,
debt
I
to
think the
Jamaica.
Prime Minister knows what he's doing.
I mean if you know him, I do.
He knows what he's doing. So he's willing fully. He's willing, he's deliberate in continue to con the public. The average man and woman that would just jump up and say, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know in another sense.
And that's
Remember,
what,
when
and
they
that is the
ready,
gallery that he's waving to.
Yeah man, when you really play a click man, so people see it and me. I come and tell him say him say it, and him say it out of mouth.
$100 billion annually remains unfulfilled. The loss and damage fund established at COP28 was historic, yet its initial capitalization of 800 million is grossly inadequate. Developed countries must honor their commitments and scale up climate finance, recognizing that adaptation is a necessity for the survival of small island developing states. The global financing system remains fundamentally flawed. It penalizes reforming economies like Jamaica with high borrowing costs while ignoring our vulnerabilities. Through sacrifice, discipline, and sound management, Jamaica has reduced its debt to GDP ratio from 144% to now 62%.
Come here. Come here. Should I continue, member?
Yeah man, no man, a UN speech man you play man.
So now this UN speech I thought I play, man.
Man, play
hold on, the UN speech or the G20 speech?
G20 speech me that.
Oh, the G20.
Sorry man, a G20 man you play.
Because he made the correct information at the United Nations.
Correct information that you know. A United
that
Nation now.
GDP, yeah, from 147 to 62.
That's a truth.
Yeah, that is true. That is factual.
But when you go, how is it that 4 months later or 5 months later, you could say something totally different? So me want him hear him a say it. And when they hear him say it, we play another part of receipt where him a say no.
Madam Speaker,
Member from Eastern St. Thomas.
our microphone was on, but you could also make reference to the presentation in Parliament about 2 weeks ago, 2 Tuesdays ago, when the Prime Minister, if my memory serves me right, made a similar appearance.
Me don't want the one there, no, but me want him on a UN.
You know,
So now we go tell 20 other countries.
The G20, not the UN.
G20, you go tell 20 other people say, well, him know say not truth, you know. When me understand when tell we lie all the while at Jamaica, because we know that.
Well,
Him left
I think It's a foregone conclusion that
No, hold on, in a foregone, you know. Cause member say following day after the Prime Minister said that Carl Lewis and few of them come say a truth. Even when the glaring facts in front of them, they say a truth.
Whenever
So
you're ready, Minister.
play it, man.
Please accept our commendations on South Africa's presidency. Excellencies, Jamaica supports the global agenda to make economic growth not only strong and sustainable, but also inclusive and resilient. Jamaica's story is one of social partnership and sacrifice. We transformed our economy after decades of instability through disciplined macro-fiscal reforms anchored in responsible debt management, institutional strengthening, targeted pro-growth initiatives. We reduced our debt, lowered poverty and unemployment, contained inflation, stabilized foreign exchange, and built robust reserves. Now, our focus is on translating the dividends of sacrifice into investments in our people. Getting the policy mix right is both an economic and moral imperative. Yet, one external shock can undo years of progress. Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 storm, has devastated 7 parishes. Its impact will negatively affect our debt trajectory, and the road ahead will be challenging. This is our reality today. But it is also the recurring story of vulnerability told by small island developing states in CARICOM and indeed across the world. Global partnership will be essential to our recovery. The G20 commitment in 2021 to recycle SDR allocations led to the creation of the IMF Resilience and Sustainability Trust. This facility provides developing countries with relatively low-cost financing and longer maturities. We urge the G20 to preserve and strengthen this mechanism. We also call for innovative, flexible financing solutions, such as thematic bonds for climate adaptation and blended finance structures to support resilient infrastructure designed to meet the unique needs of climate-vulnerable economies. Jamaica further calls on the G20 to advance a rules-based, equitable, global trading framework that enhances predictability, flexibility, and resilience, expanding access to insurance instruments tailored to the needs of SIDS, supporting technological upgrading and productive capacity enhancement, integrating multidimensional vulnerability indices into eligibility and financing terms across IFIs and climate funds, so countries can invest in resilience without compromising fiscal stability. Establishing a loss and damage financing window with clear rules-based triggers for timely and predictable support. Advancing a global skills and trade compact for SIDS to strengthen human capital, competitiveness, and inclusive growth. Excellencies, through these actions, the G20 can ensure that global trade and financial systems become more than engines of growth. They can become forces for shared prosperity, resilience, and sustainability, leaving no nation behind.
Never sue the person who hit you after a car accident.
Madam Speaker.
Go ahead, member.
The climate crisis is not abstract. It is an existential threat. A single climate-driven event can erase decades of progress, destabilize public finances, and constrain development trajectories overnight. Disaster risk reduction is fundamental to our national survival. Recovery and reconstruction will be a formidable task, but Jamaica is not daunted. We are determined to rebuild stronger, more resilient, and more sustainably. We have already activated our multi-layered disaster risk financing framework to support immediate response and early recovery. However, the scale of the challenge far exceeds what small economies can shoulder alone. We will need your support. On behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, I extend deep appreciation to our international partners, some of whom are represented here today. Their assistance has been vital in our disaster response and relief efforts. The unprecedented strength of Hurricane Melissa, following the wake of last year's Hurricane Beryl and other weather events, these ground our global call to action. The world must confront this crisis by urgently reducing emissions in line with the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. Failure to do so guarantees more frequent and more destructive storms for countries like Jamaica, which have made the economic sacrifices but have had them undone by exogenous climate factors. Resilience must also therefore be our guiding principle. Resilience is not ideology, it is practicality. Disasters impose undeniable economic costs. Investing in resilient infrastructure, diversified energy systems, and disaster preparedness is simply sound economics. Resilience is the bridge between climate ambition and fiscal prudence. It is where all nations can find common ground. We therefore call on G20 members to support climate finance at the level, scale, and concessionality required for vulnerable nations to survive and thrive. This includes financing to rebuild climate-resilient infrastructure, expand risk transfer and disaster insurance instruments, strengthen agricultural and food systems, given the severe damage wrought on a sector central to jobs, food security, and rural livelihoods. Jamaica is doing its part. We are committed to a just energy transition and to achieving at least 50% renewable electricity generation by 2030. But as is the case with other small island developing states, attaining such targets requires partnerships, technology transfer, concessional financing, and capacity building from major economies. I close by encouraging us to build formidable partnerships that will strengthen our disaster resilience and accelerate the just transition to clean energy solutions for the benefit of our present and future generations. I'm pleased to report that I have seen improvements in the functioning of ADPEM, and they were tasked to do a few things. One of them, to strengthen their inventory.
Watch this now. I see a man is attacking. Watch this now.
I'm waiting.
Clear from Alvaro first, member.
Something that we have done is to build resilience in the country's financing. And how did we do this? One, we controlled our borrowing. Reducing the debt to GDP ratio ensured that when we really needed to borrow, we could get access to funding. But more than that, we could get access to funding at the best rates because we established ourselves as good managers of resources and lower risk. The second thing we did is that we had a scheme of preparing for disasters. And essentially, it's a straightforward scheme. There are two kinds of disasters that will happen. You have high frequency, low intensity events. You can expect that every year we're going to have a rainy season. Every year there's going to be flooding. We may be impacted up to the level of a tropical storm. We prepare for that. Every year we know we're going to have droughts. And so we have to provide for that. And how do we provide for that? Well, for the first time in decades, we established and funded the National Disaster Fund. So every year we set aside for that. So in effect, you can say we put aside savings for that. If your economy isn't doing well, you can't save for disasters. So
Yeah, let
we
me
set aside
information there again.
savings out of our revenues. The second thing we did is that we set aside a contingency, and we have that contingency, which is where we have been spending from in the initial response to the hurricane, almost about $5 billion, meaning we set aside from cash flow, savings and cash flow, we target that to low intensity, high frequency events. But then there are some events that are high intensity, low frequency. And for that, we use insurance, like the CRIF, the Caribbean Reinsurance Fund that is there. And
Hold on,
for
who
really
paused
high
right?
intensity, low frequency events, we have the catastrophe bond.
So in a one breath, he must say first time in a decades it happened. But in another breath, no, he might acknowledge say it creep. I'm not saying someone are confused, man. Let me have to tell you, have to be careful when him tell you, you know. You never forget it.
No, him not confused. Him just try to confuse everybody else.
Or no, I can't. Him no confuse. That's true, right? I confuse everybody else.
Member
Say what him in a say,
Information
no,
Minister.
true.
I have a question I wanted to ask. My microphone has been on for a while.
You see how we have structured our
Okay,
finances?
definitely. Go ahead, member. I was trying to unmute my microphone. Go ahead with your question, member. Excellent.
I can't help, perhaps anybody can help me. I can't help but to see clarification as to the 7 parishes that have been decimated by the hurricane. The 7 parishes. I don't know if I get some clarity from the members.
The Prime Minister claimed that St. Elizabeth, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney,
St. James.
St. James, Hanover,
St. Anne.
St. Anne, and Manchester.
Oh, those are the 7 parishes that
That's
have
a
been
way him have pani of it over here
decimated.
beside Prime. Well, I make a show people. So I know me so I insist. Well,
Definitely. That's strong word, you know.
I mean, know say if
That's
something.
why I asked the question.
Very strong.
Perhaps the way I treat the word or I understand the word decimated, it carries a different context to that from what was used in the speech. So that is the reason why I actually ask for clarity.
Members, I must telling you, right now you're on 3 different platforms on YouTube.
But tell me, sir, problem.
What are the 3 platforms?
No, that the man they would know. You know, so no lie.
What are the 3 different platforms, our speaker? House leader,
Come.
sorry.
Come and switch your box again. That I release my problem.
Yeah, the box have already been switched. You are in the big
No,
box.
see him there now. See hear him this attack, you know. See him there? And he might tell the people and something now. Severely across St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, Manchester, St. James, Trelawney, and St. Anne. We mourn life loss. So I don't know if he word when bring IG20 and the meaning in I word and the actual meaning is not the same thing. Cause if something deficit, if something have that magnitude happen. No, basically no left on the side of the parish, everything gone.
Thank you.
So you can't really follow the Prime Minister on him at all.
Remember, Excellence, your time to
So you know
make
what parishes them now, so you can add your context and you want to.
Thank you.
No, it is because of the level. You said the parishes are Westmore, are St. Elizabeth.
According to the Prime Minister, the parishes are. Look for them again. How then? St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, Manchester, St. James, Trelawney, and St. Anne. And the meaning I heard what him use.
Because my concern is, if these are the 7 parishes that have been decimated, what is the level? Because I am not hearing anything about
But
the
excellent.
level of response in
All right.
Manchester or is level of response in St. Anne.
All right, I'm sure you say Prime Minister's speech don't make no sense. If all of those 7
I was
parishes,
about to say it doesn't make sense. I said they are
it don't
matter.
make any sense. That time he said that we don't know apology. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to use the Prime Minister's speech or a quote from his speech to show it don't make no sense. So if those 7 parishes was decimated, how could you now come a parliament and tell us 40% of GDP affected? It couldn't 40%. If it decimated the people, I mean, are dead. How wouldn't 40 people alone dead? How wouldn't 160,000 house alone affected according to you? Your part. If something decimated, animal dead, people dead, building gone, road cut off, all sort of these are, yes, likeliness of them thing they happen. But to date, it's only 40 plus people dead. So when he must say still not add up to actual word when more use to describe the event.
Well, fatality might not be the only criteria for definition or characterizing as decimated.
Okay.
We tend to want to use infrastructural damages
Okay.
in these areas.
All right. So we may use it for 1 minute.
One second, member. 1 second, please. The thing is, the reports out of St. Anne. Yeah, we all know parts of St. Anne was impacted, just like parts of Manchester. But to put them in the group of St. Elizabeth, St. James, Westmoreland, Hanover, I think might be a stretch based upon the impact of damages that took place, especially in Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth, to put St. Anne and Manchester in that. Whereas when we think about infrastructural damages, it speaks volume, but I guess it is his assessment and stuff can be done relative. Words are relative for some people.
But would that be classified as disinformation?
Well, that is because of the objectivity of the situation, the subjectivity of this situation. I would not go down the road to say this or misinformation because it sounds very subjective in my opinion.
All right.
There's no definitive criteria in this one.
So you're saying what about infrastructure and all of that, right? That's your argument, right?
I'm saying it could be. I'm not sure.
Okay. So let me use the Prime Minister one speech. Did at any point the Prime Minister mention that the total infrastructure damage was 160,000 houses?
160,000 buildings, not houses.
Building include housing.
Yeah.
All right. To today day, if you go over starting now and look on the total household affected, is over 300,000. So where Prime Minister get 160,000 from?
That is something I'm trying to figure out, the differences between the statins record and those offered by... And because statin should be your official source of information in the country, right? One of my biggest concern is also.
Hold on, I could pull up the CM report again.
And I'm just going to go along as you have opened up that room member, as you have opened that door. I must say to you that if it's one place where I truly, because I think the government has a failing grade, but if it's one place where there's truly a massive failure of this government, is the whole assessment of this, of the impact of this disaster. Because up to just the 9th, I think it was the 9th was the press conference, when the minister spoke about what 40,000 assessments have been done when you want to get to 150,000 people assessments to be done, sorry. And he's postulating that the assessments won't be completed until all the way in January. Now, and as I've said before on this platform, it appears as if no substantial help will be given to the people until the new budget cycle, because if you complete your assessment in end of January, by the time you complete the assessment, you make budgetary allocation, you go into procurement and all that. It's end of February, March.
Even when you get out of
real assistance for rebuilding. And a significant problem is that when I heard the minister saying that he will have 600 persons in the field, and a lot of them are volunteer. I was wondering if the reality is we are going into a period of time now where even our universities are going to be on break. Couldn't he get even some of these students to come and they do the work, they help with the collection of the data and the assessment, and then possibly their salary or their pay could be an advance on their tuitions or some grants to them as a gratitude for the work they have done, so as to have more persons in the field and you would have high quality people in the field like that, because they have university students who could be there for even a 2-week period helping to get the data, and when they are finished, you could make advances to their various universities or various institutions where it counts as some payment or grant towards them while they are in school. And I'm sure many of them would latch on to that idea to know that, boy, I can go to the field for 2 weeks, and at the end of it, for this semester coming, I will get a portion of money being sent over to the university in the form of a grant or something for me, so as to expedite the process of recovering the data so that the people can get aid in a quicker and a more expeditious fashion. So that is where I have a significant problem with the pace of which the data collection and assessment is going, because we all know if there's no assessment, money is can't be paid out, assistance can't be given.
But member, on a point of information or a question, if the assessment has not been completed, what would warrant the 700 land titles in St. Elizabeth yesterday? Would that form part of the assessment for that to take place?
So I would possibly think that a logical explanation, I'm just saying, I'm not being there for the price. A logical explanation might be that these were pre-Melissa situations, because I would find it challenging to believe that just 42, 44, is 44? Some less than 7 weeks after the phenomena, you would be able to give out land titles based upon what have happened. That would have been very, 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 very expeditious. That would make the office of RG Mark's office seem like it's the most efficient office ever made since the invention of sliced bread. So I think those might just be pre-Melissa situations. I'll be baffled to think those are after Melissa.
And the second part of the question, member from Eastern St. Thomas. There's a high proliferation of squatter settlement in Westmoreland. And Westmoreland has been categorized as ground zero. But we have yet to hear a comprehensive plan where land reform is concerned in order to have the people sheltered. I would have hoped that in the land titling ceremony yesterday, then the Prime Minister would make some announcement where Westmoreland is concerned. Since there is a high proliferation of squatter settlement or informal settlement in Westmoreland, and the timeline for restoration of houses to include new houses is January.
Well, the truth is, I think this whole situation here, especially where Westmoreland is concerned, is a sticking thing, and the legal people will tell you a lot of things, because one of my concern is if there's no dispute over tenureship, if there's no dispute, how do we proceed versus when there's dispute? And I think there are clear case laws and there are clear indicators as to how to proceed. But I guess the government has its own mechanism. And honestly, sometimes I feel as if the mill is moving way too slow for the recovery of these people. Way too slow. And there's nobody. One of my concern is when you read, when I think about the situation more and more, you can see the flaws coming out greater and greater in front of your eyes. And it's just like with the food distribution. If you look at what the numbers that came out of that Commander Gale gave, and relative to the population size, even when you upscale the volume of packages and you reduce the number of people significantly, you find that it is still not reaching the people in a substantial manner. And these are what you use. Numbers don't lie. And this is the greatest disappointment, is that when you speak the truth, utilizing the numbers, you hear that you are anti-government and you're against the Prime Minister and you are wicked and you're against Jamaica because you stand up and you call out for your fellow Jamaicans.
But remember, I raised those particular issues just as a result of the comment of the Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister at the Public Accounts and Appropriation Committee meeting last week.
But again, I don't hold that comment with the greatest of respect for the former Chief of Defense Staff, who is a learned man and quite a brilliant man. But I would have rather to have gotten an answer for those things from the legal side of his office versus just his salient opinion. And I value his opinion well, but I would have loved to have heard what the legal people from his office would have said. Because when I hear the opinion of legal officers, it varies a lot from what the other technocrats or other persons might see. So it would be good to hear some legal opinion on this whole situation of tenureship and land titling and all of that down in Westmoreland, where some of these people have lived on these lands for 40, 50, 60 years undisturbed, unmolested. Some of them might even be paying tax on these lands for the last 25, 30 years, 40 years. And is adverse possession just a formal living on the land on this unmolested or undisturbed over the period of time? Is it just you going through the formal process of gazetting and getting the paperwork drawn up to say yes, it is this, or is it you being there on that occupied unmolested for the period of time stated by the state? So these are questions that I would love to get legal opinion done.
My final comment to that, member, before we ask member Alvaro to come back in, is that my understanding where adverse protection possession was first time you could apply after paying up the tax straight to the lands authority or to the tax office. But my understanding now is that you will have to apply directly to the Prime Minister's office, where that is concerned now, adverse possession of government land, which is you have to be on it for over 60 years.
Yes, so that's why I asked the question, because some of these people that are down there are third generation, fourth generation. Some of these people down there are 80-year-old, 90-year-old, and they were born on some of these lands. So they have been there all their lives. So that's why I asked the question: is adverse possession just the formalized process of going through the old rigmarole of gazetting and affidavit and all this, and after that, is the process of you paying taxes for the last 20 years or 30 years or 40 or 50 years on this land and occupying it unmolested or undisturbed, as to which the term you want to use. So that is just basically what we're looking at. And I use against a contract being verbal and a contract being written, So that's all I'm trying to look at.
Thank you, member.
I think these are things that would be well explained by the legal persons. And these are questions I would love to get answers to for myself.
Thank you, member. Member Alvaro.
Yeah, man. So we are going to listen where the Prime Minister will say. We don't know where get this. We don't say this. I don't know where Prime Minister get this information from. You just have to have him truth, but listen for him truth now. See that?
Coordinated through the National Spatial Data Management Branch and supported by international technology partners, analyze more than 428,000 buildings across Jamaica. Satellite data and drone verification indicate that approximately 100 androids sustain severe or catastrophic damage.
All right, let's stop right there. So, see that? 116,000 was severely damages. I could go over starting now. It tells me no buy a salt where Prime Minister said. Total dwelling count in the parish mostly affected by Hurricane Melissa. See that? Trelawney, 30,190. St. James, 70,668. Hanover, 25,942. Westmoreland, 54,624. St. Elizabeth, 54,392. St. Anne, 62,512. Manchester, 61,996. Gives us a grand total of 360,346 houses. Where did the Prime Minister get this number from of 116,000?
Was that considered to be catastrophic because the Prime Minister said that 116,000 were catastrophic damages or devastated buildings? Those that you read from Statin, were they classified in that same category? Because you know, damages could be mild, moderate, and severe. So I'm just asking for clarity of those because I don't have access to that piece of information.
No, but guess what? With my methodology to determine that, I want me analyze from what them have here, so before me use the top part. The total population we affected was 36% of 774,000, which that's little bit over $1.3 million. 1.3 million people. So see actually 1,404,000 people was affected.
Yeah.
Then come right here, so now and then give you all I break out I parish. Number of dwellings. The total dwelling count in the parish mostly affected by. So whether moderate or not is split up in between this. But what I'm saying, if is it that you name St. Elizabeth and Hanover ground zero between St. Elizabeth, Hanover, and St. James, we almost have over 300,000, over 200,000. So you are telling me that a majority of the 116,000 you can't come from those parishes?
But remember, what I was saying is that if you, because you see, we want to be, we don't want them to say that we bash.
No, I'm not bashing. I'm just questioning information.
I'm just saying to you, if you listen to what he said, and we could just roll back the tape about 20 or 15 to 20 seconds. He said from the drone, let us use for a very colloquial way.
In Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth.
No, try to play back for you. Wait, click them. Okay, I'm supposed to start.
More than 428,000 buildings across Jamaica. Satellite data and drone verification indicate that approximately 116,000 structures sustain severe or catastrophic damage.
Yeah, you can pause it there.
Hold on, we'll pause it. So wait, me had further information.
So he said that.
Hold on, before you respond. Of that 116,000, see time of right so 116 was severely damaged, mainly in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and St. James. But if you name Hanover ground zero, why didn't you have Hanover right here, sir?
Well, was it him or was it him or was it the minister?
Then the minister must correlate information to him. So the minister does come present to the public and him don't know about it.
So
Manchester is not classified as ground zero. And you are saying to me of the 116,000 house you are talking about comes from Westmoreland, St. James and Manchester. No, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and Manchester according to him. But the most affected parishes are Hanover, Westmoreland, and St. James. Then why you wouldn't have more severely damaged house in a Hanover and Westmoreland, but you have it in a St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Westmoreland? No, that even makes sense.
You know, so my clear, you see, this is where so let us just give it on to him. He says 428,000 houses were damaged or buildings were damaged with 116,000 being, I'm going to say, severe on a scale of mild, moderate to severe. 116,000 being between being moderate to severe or severe. So that leaves another 312. That's 312,000 houses between the moderate and mildly damaged category, or not houses, buildings. 312,000 to be mild to moderate. You know, so no, my greatest concern is, even if we say of this 116,000, 40% of those houses were insured, people can build back. And I'm going to even be a little bit more benevolent and say 50% of these houses, which would make it 58,000 of these houses, are people who are able to rebuild their buildings, have their insurance, have the finance, just so you can fix back the one thing. So we still have 58,000 Jamaican homes that needs to be rebuilt. And I'm just working against the numbers as stated by Minister Charles, where he said they have 150,000 houses to assess. And you're only at 40,000 at this juncture, and you're anticipating that you will finish at the end of January. So here we have 110,000 people, based upon Minister Charles' number, people who are going to be having to be, what should I say, living in some substandard condition right through for another month and a half, which in my opinion is woefully inadequate. And it only requires for you to have more people in the field to collect the data. And getting people in the field should not be a challenge. It's just a matter about will to get people in the field to go and collect the data. And you have people disposable now, because you have students you have university students who you could engage. You have a number of people, and there are many ways you can do it. You have teachers who are perhaps not teaching now. Why not? And some of them might have their student loans. Why not, instead of giving them the physical cash at this moment, why not say to them, boy, we will pay off a part of your student loan for a service that you have given to us to capture this data. The university student will put a part of your money towards the school fee for capturing the data. You know, and there are so many ways. So you don't have to even be paying upfront at this immediate moment. There are engagements and stuff that can be done. It is sad that we are going to have, because we have to wait and wait and wait. So even when if I use Minister Vaz projection that they want to get back light to the people by the end of January, first week of February, where will these people put the lights? Because if the assessment is going to finish at the end of January and they have electricity, where would the light go? Is the light going to go on the tarpaulins? Is it going to go on the cars that they are sleeping in the back of some old car? Is it going to go on 2 sheets of zinc? So we are more concerned about moving some elements forward while leaving some elements behind, while the real thing should be to simultaneously move everything in a way that, in a multi-pronged approach. That is my drawback. And go ahead, ma'am.
Good night. Night, everyone. On the topic of housing, can somebody please remind me how many container homes the Prime Minister indicated that he would be purchasing? Was it 200 or 2,000? Which was it?
The number is, I think we're expecting to get 3,000 container houses in the short term.
In the short term. All right. So Minister Charles has also informed us that they have not yet completed the assessment of homes that have been damaged. But if we look on the earlier information that came out when the Prime Minister said it was 1,000 plus buildings that was destroyed, for some reason or the other, homes and businesses were not separated. You just said building. So in the initial stage, we really did not know what was residential and what was commercial or what was small business. We don't know. Everything was just putting up in one pool. Now, the other thing that I want to highlight on this whole thing is the Prime Minister went ahead without obviously doing any form of data capturing and say, okay, I'm going to purchase 2,000 container homes. So within his haste to purchase those container homes, to go through NHT as a distribution and purchasing hub, where did he get his data from? Because we're just in the phase of doing damage assessment that will continue into January. So who are those homes going to benefit? So to me, it is obvious that the Prime Minister was not taking an eye or interest to care for the citizen. Because I am now understanding that no damage assessment was done before indicating that he's going to purchase those container homes. That is what I'm gathering from all of this, both what the Prime Minister said earlier and what Minister Charles has now come to the forefront to say, okay, we're going to do assessment, but it won't be finished until January. And a lot of persons might not get housing assistance because they are not title holders. But I find this whole thing
Right.
heartless.
When you finish, you have a point of clarification.
Go ahead before I go any further.
With this container house, I want you to listen what the Prime Minister say.
All
1 week when he make your announcement, and what listen what NHT say. 1 week later.
1 week later. Hold on. Let me wrap up on this part and then
Yeah,
you
man.
play the video.
Mhm.
What I find very disheartening and disingenuous, when the Prime Minister was up and about at 3 a.m. in the morning, going through the hills and the valleys and going all the way around to the Chronicles of Narnia to find these people to vote for him, I'm pretty sure he did not ask them about titles. While I do understand that we have laws and they're to be observed, but a lot of these persons have been on those lands for a very long time. Some of those lands were once upon a time before Jamaica became an independent country. There were rice fields where immigrants from India and China came here to plant on those fields. So I'm pretty sure you have persons who are on those lands who are 100 years old. They more than qualify for adverse possession because they've been in possession of those lands long before Jamaica got her own constitution. I don't see how the government can call that person or their descendants squatters. You would have to call them first settlers. Go ahead, Alvaro. Alvaro?
We're going to look on this for this money I tell me now. I feel one more.
We have examined pre-built containerized modular solutions, and we have settled in our minds that this is appropriate for the Jamaican situation that we now have. There are different types, different versions, and so I've met with the NHT.
Meet with the NHT.
And the NHT has provided us with a solution that they are presently working on. At a later stage, we'll go into more details. but the plan is for in the initial phase for the NHT to purchase 5,000 container homes, and those will be some of them will be for sale. So with a program with the NHT, you will be able to purchase. Some of them will be used to build housing schemes, which you can purchase, and a portion of them will be made available through social housing. The government itself will also be purchasing some of these containerized housing solutions, which will be made available through the social housing modality. So effectively, we have to do a rapid deployment of housing solutions. And the easiest way to do this is to use the containerized solutions.
Right. Easiest way to do it are 5,000 hours, according to him. See that? 5,000. Now look at this now. 1 week later, 26th of November, NHT to procure the first 2,500. So on a 5,000 again, you know. Now you hold 5,000 shall get one time. If some of his sell, some of his social program where you go give them where and whatever, and some of build container house. How if 5,000? See there?
And
See there? All there so. So when I'm over here, so I say so now, it's just pretty sure if you tell people. See there? You can't follow him when him talk truth on him feel like.
on my on my second point, the member from St. Thomas was inquiring about adverse possession. Now, the process to adverse possession is 60 years for government land, which we all know, and 12 years for private owned land. So you would have to, first thing first, you have to survey the lot that you're on, that you're occupying. For the period of time that you've been living there, your neighbors would have to do an affidavit stating that you've been occupying the land for, you could say, some 75 years. I'm going on the basis that the person is like 80 years old. So your neighbor is probably like 75 years old, 70 years old. So I've known Mary Jane from I was a child. This is where Mary Jane grew up, had her children, and so on and so forth. And with that, they start the process of adverse possession, but you have to make an application to the titles office in order to do that. So it's not just paying up the taxes only that is a part of it. Another way to establish, to say, okay, you qualify for adverse possession, you are in possession of the property undisturbed. So if it is that you've been living there or you've been farming on it and your neighbors can say, well then, okay, I've known him for the past 80 years. Government land again. He's been farming and living on the property. And you're going to make an application for adverse possession. But as it is now, those persons suffered a disaster. These are government lands. And like I said, they would have been occupying them for some 3-4 generations. The government can easily give the land to them, make it legal. Because like I said, when they were going through the Chronicles of Narnia and going to the moon to get these people to vote for them, they were not discriminating against them and calling them squatters. The very same squatters who are in the very disheartening situation that they're in now, that you're calling them squatters, are informal settlers. They're the very same ones who voted for you. So they were upstanding citizens. When Mr. Prime Minister, you needed them to vote for you. But now that they're down and out and destitute. All of a sudden, they're informally settled. Make it legal. Thank you for handing out those 700 titles. But Westmoreland is next. Heighten their status, elevate their status. Take them from informal settlers and let them be proud landowners. Give them the title. That's what I came up to say. Daniel? Hello?
Yes, thank you very much, man. I'm here listening to you. Mr. Blair is there, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you, member. I want to put some context
Well said.
to the lot of persons in Westmoreland who find themselves in informal settlement or lease settlement. When we had the sugar factories in Westmoreland, I think it was from Westmoreland was one of those parishes who used to survive on its own because sugar was king at one time. So Westmoreland was self-sufficient. A lot of persons migrated from other parishes to Westmoreland to work on the sugar plantation. And as such, instead of travel back home to their various parishes, they wanted to live in Westmoreland and work in Westmoreland. A number of them rented place from private persons. Some of them began squatting on sugar land and government land. They start to develop families, have relationships, and they finally settled in Westmoreland. When the sugar factories was locked down and sold under the Bruce Golding led administration in 2007, administered by Arbin Hill, a lot of those persons did not leave Westmoreland. They continued to live in Westmoreland because they developed relationship, friendship, sort of have children and things like those. And that is one of the reasons why you have so much informal settlement in Westmoreland. It was not as a result of neglect from any previous government. You understand? Because a lot of those persons just squatted on a piece of land or rent a piece of lease a piece of land just to build somewhere so that they can work on the plantation and still live in the same parish. And that is where the proliferation of informal settlement started in Westmoreland. But Westmoreland was not one of those backward parishes because away from tourism, the sugar industry used to strive and the people of Westmoreland used to be self-sufficient as a parish. I just wanted to put that out there.
Just to add to what Uncle Blair said, the Prime Minister some days ago came out and his main concern was the dignity of our brothers and sisters, the citizens of this country. The Prime Minister is in a position than anyone else to give these people a sense of dignity by granting them titles for them to become landowners so that they can no longer be called squatters. Give them back dignity. They will help themselves. They can finally settle. They can put down roots. So as the leader that he projected himself to be at the G20 summit. This is a way, in good faith, as a leader who projects himself to care for his people and to be very concerned about the dignity, because we are a very resilient and prideful nation. We're very proud. So I'm imploring the Prime Minister, grant them titles, elevate their status so they can beam with pride. And I know for a fact that if you give them 2 sheets of zinc, they will multiply it and turn it into a mansion. Because we're a very prideful, resilient set of people. Taking back a line from the Prime Minister's speech, every young boy deserves him castle. In 2016, that was a part of the Prime Minister's speech, meaning everyone deserves a home that they can be proud of. And I'll leave it right there.
Madam, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, may I proceed?
Yeah, you may go ahead.
You know, as I was about to touch on that very same point, because the Prime Minister, coming from humble beginnings, knows the importance of having a home. And I was trying to look up where Dr. Burgess, renowned civil engineer, was speaking on Portland Spice in an interview with Colin Bell. I listened to that interview with great interest that afternoon. And Dr. Burgess made a very fundamental point. He says, we have that after Hurricane Charlie, it was Hurricane Charlie, right? Hit Jamaica. Then leader, was it Bustamante?
Yes.
Introduced to Jamaica the concept of block and steel. Block, steel, and cement for concrete houses. In my mind, it's a retrograde step for us to be going, unless it would have been for the immediate acute short term, to be going container. Brothers and sisters to be living in. And when they spoke about the possibilities of doing shell housing, you build up a shell and ask a man to just finish you up. So you put a slab roof over the top, you put a kitchen and a bathroom and a living space, and they would have come in way shorter than the price of a containerized solution, which is only temporary at best. And to see the economic growth and repercussion that would have, and also the time in which it will take to build, which is shorter than getting containerized solutions to come into the country. Spending our money to buy in US dollars versus trying to kickstart the economy right there and then. It's kind of sad to see that we are going in the phase of wanting to give people containerized house at this juncture, and talking about building housing scheme with containerized houses. I don't think our Jamaican people prefers or would prefer to have container house versus having block and steel. and to even do their own work after a while. You get the block and steel, and after a while, you get a little starter, and you will continue what you're continuing. I am yet to see where Jamaicans are given a start, especially where houses are concerned, and then just Lego so and don't do any improvement on them. We have so many examples right across the country where Jamaicans get a little start and they make them castle out of it. And I am of the view that when you come to containerized houses, what you're going to do again is just create a lot of informality after a time. But when people make them nice, good concrete house, they take pride in it and they take pride in the areas where they are. So this is also an opportunity for the government to regularize some of these informal housing arrangement or informal communities and create a more sustainable and attractive community by building the solutions, creating the necessary infrastructure that are needed so you can move from these irregular areas to have better areas, and therefore policing becomes much more easier and the work of the state becomes much more easier in these places. So I hope, as you say, we grow stronger and build stronger and better. We take it from every aspect, from a social, economic, health, every aspect of it. So we become a stronger and more resilient nation. But I think container housing solution will only benefit EU stands to benefit the most by its procurement and by its installation. And that is where I yield, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, member. And as we plan to close the sitting for this week, I would really want to know if there is any connection between the government members and the persons who are selling the containerized houses. While the only solution the government is talking about is container. I'm a bit worried about that. And as the member just said a while ago, for you to leave generational wealth for your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, and generations to come, the preference would be for block and steel, especially in the flatlands of Westmoreland, because containerized houses cannot be elevated. They have to be put down on a flat surface. The whole question of flooding will arise. And containers and water does not agree. And with the prevalence of higher hurricane, wind gusts, the possibility exists that container houses could be folded up with a category 5 hurricane. So I want to know what thought, and as Brad mentioned it earlier, what amount of time was passed before the Prime Minister acknowledged that the country will purchase over 5,000 container homes? What would warrant that? And I think we need to look deeper and to dig and see if we can find the supplier of these houses to see if there's a connection between members of the government party and the developers, because this does not sit well. And there's another school of thought again, is that if you give people container house, then you don't have to give them the land because the houses can be moved from point A to point B at any given time. So you could lease somewhere, get the house, and then you lease somewhere else and you move the container to it. So I don't know. It's a
No,
it's a
remember, where there's no dispute of tenureship, do we really think about containerized solution where tenureship is secure or established?
there would be no need for container. You'd be need for block and steel. So that the persons, when their situation changes or their family situation changes, then they could have developed, just like how the people of Portmore developed from the one room squad, which they get.
Because when I look at it, a man can live somewhere, and then get a 30-year for a 50-year lease from a 90-year lease from a person. And there's authorization to build a permanent structure. That could happen
Exactly.
through a written agreement.
Exactly.
Would that person not benefit well from a permanent structure in the form of a nice, good block, steel, and cement house?
Exactly.
Mr. Speaker, I think you're onto something. Those 2 points that you made, those 2 last points, in one, who is the contractor? I think we need to, with a microscope, dig and an excavator, dig to find that information. And the whole thing about now you put me on a port, you show me down a part, and I'm looking, and my mind start, running down that part. This is a deliberate attempt to move the people because containers, they are not permanent structures, so they can be moved.
Thank you.
So if he say, okay, this is my 5-year plan or my 6-year, 10-year plan, put them there. When those containers start to deteriorate, he would say, oh, it's environmental hazard now. People have to move out because of whatsoever, they're rotting and, the rotting and all that kind of stuff. Because he won't give those people title for those, for wherever he put them. It will be the same man had said, where he would give the people the houses, right? The poor relief house, and whenever they're dead, then they'll come and recapture. Take them back. That is simply what he's doing. Remember, Desmond had said it, didn't he?
Exactly.
We keep saying it over and over and over. The election is done. What kind of campaign is this administration on? What are they doing? And I thank this honorable house for exploring all the possibilities. And we won't stop. So no amount of reintroducing bill for libel, no amount of spewing so-called misinformation, none of that will stop us. This is a cruel ploy. It is a ploy. Look, this government have problems with number. They have spent over $4 billion on a census that is not completed. If we had had that census, we'll be far down the track. That's one. Two, we are way behind time when it's just now we're about to gather that data. And they lie about every number. Every number they lie about. Deputy Speaker, you're onto something. And I think by next meeting, this house will have better clarity when it comes on to the intent of this government, of this administration and its leadership. It can't be. It cannot be. Remember at Pinnacle, he went on and praised the developers when they said that, he said that, hey, the speed at which you have done this construction in less than 1 year or about 1 year, it shows
Just
what
what
you can do.
happened.
He said that. So he was asking them to help partner with helping housing for those who have been displaced. But yet he's pushing ahead for container house schemes.
And further to that, I read something from the National Housing Trust that the members of the Housing Trust, there is no major take-up of the assistance which the Housing Trust is offer for Melissa at this time. There is no rush.
690 or 660 odd.
Yeah, 660, I think 661 persons application. There is no rush. Because if I am entitled to a benefit through National Housing Trust, I would want black and steel. I would want a container.
I wouldn't want a container.
Can't develop on a container.
I can't build a room for my daughter, and build a room. That's when my mom or whoever want to come over.
So that's what I'm saying. Unless the container are acute, immediate solution, I don't think they're right. I mean,
No, but you're
in
right.
the case of dire emergency,
Because the research said that container houses have a lifespan of between 20 and 50 years.
20 and what?
And 50 years.
And that is not well. I heard that the modular solution goes up to
That is one generation.
I heard that the modular solution goes up.
No,
to
that's less than one generation.
Yeah.
That's less than one generation.
You said 50 years, you Blair?
Yeah, between 20 to 50. And it all depends on how you maintain it.
Well, I heard that the modular solution goes up to like 15 years and the semi-modular up to about 10.
Ah.
And I heard the Prime Minister himself
Only more like it.
same words. 50 years is a boy.
It's a stretch.
Because if I can have a container house leaving for 50 years, I'll just pick a container house and done because
Well,
that's a
50 years is a short amount of time enough. 50 years is no time enough.
It's not a generation. Most people are living way longer than that.
The house which I was born in, there was two to three generations before me. And it's still standing. Black and steel. I don't know. But I am not convinced that we should, and the other point again where the container house is concerned is that you will have to where 40% of GDP has been cut in respect of the 2024-25 budget. And then you will find foreign exchange now to purchase container house. Why not use that money to stimulate the economy? So that the mason, the carpenter, the plumber, the laborers, the people who sell aggregate, the hardware, would benefit.
The woman who sell cup tea, who sell orange, everybody.
Exactly. Because spending the money in the country would stimulate the economy and give it a boost. But when you take the foreign exchange, we are short on foreign exchange now and send it abroad to get container houses. How does that help the economy? How does that help the tradesmen and women in the country? And the little lady who send the ripe banana and the 2 oranges on the corner to the workers in the morning. How does that benefit the country as a whole? I think it's a bad plan. And there will be no spin-off for the people of Jamaica, where that is a concern.
Deputy Speaker, I'm gonna do a little look into trailer homes here in America and see how long they last for and that kind of a stuff. Because you have community that just caters to that. So a man can just drive in his and plug into whatever utilities and so forth. I'm gonna look into it and look into this the lifespan.
Right. But those same people have the ability to move from where they are.
Yes, to a different spot. That is the advantage. But with this now, it's maybe putting a foundation down, anchoring it, and just leave it there.
Exactly.
To be removed when they want that piece of land.
Exactly.
Deputy Speaker, you really put the cat amongst the pigeon with those two last points. It is something to look into. And we must explore.
Also, member Sim, I have been listening, but I've been a little bit preoccupied. I have to apologize for my absence earlier. But I have been listening, and it can be a case because it cannot be a permanent plan. It can also be a case where those lands that was leased initially will be still in that category. So it will not be given to these leasers, the leasee. I think it's going to continue in the same farm. So if and when they're ready to leave, they can pick up them container and leave.
No, leave that are being forced off.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
I think we have highlighted most of the issues which we wanted to highlight for the afternoon. And I want to move a motion that the House be adjourned until the next sitting, which will be next Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Before you close, I crave your indulgence to thank those who have decided that they want to make us even more, to make our contributions to a greater audience, take it to a greater audience. I want to thank them for putting us up on YouTube, on the various platforms, because if it weren't for you, we would only be on TikTok, but you have placed us on YouTube, thanks to you guys, so we are becoming more renowned, so I know it is because some of you tried to do a parliament similar to ours, but it only lasted one session. Out of envy, you're trying to do this to see if it can scare us down or humiliate us. But we thank you for the free publicity, and we invite you for next week at the same time to come again and do the same streaming. so that we can be made known. Our ideas are for to help to create an easier solution to the lives of the Jamaican people. So we thank you for promulgating our message, and we encourage you to continue doing it.
And I would really like to for the House leader to let us know the various platforms which we were streaming on.
You know, it is good that they find it.
Yeah, it's a platform that the People Fox, and you have one that said the People National Party, and
That's a fake page.
about 3 of them. But I went back there and I see like one of them live ended, but the People one is still on.
One is the People's National Party and one is the People's Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have For Humanity.
Oh, but you are for humanity, right, Daniel?
Yes.
So
But I was surprised, but when I started to look into their thing, it's not just now, they've been doing it.
where is it, Daniel?
For Humanity. That's the name of that's the title of the YouTube page.
Yeah, Daniel for Humanity.
That's Daniel's page.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
what
that one is mine, but the People Fox and the People National Party.
okay.
Yeah, that one is that one stream. I saw them one stream in Noel's platform, you know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they go around and they try to do that. But you see, let me tell them, I can say to them, what we are doing is putting out, making our
I'm
country.
searching for the next one. You have a next one. It seems like a JLP mostly in charge of that one, but I don't see it goes there as well.
We are trying to put forward our possible solutions to the country's crisis. I personally thank you for giving us a platform. I personally thank you guys. So thank you for doing that. But you can also come and ask us and have a share and have a discussion, you know. We know your mind might be limited, but come and ask us. You might learn something new.
Thank you, member. So,
Because no one person is a reservoir of all information and all knowledge.
and neither do we stands up as paragons of
Extreme, pleasant good night. Again.
I hope the good night is as pleasant as the Sunday dinner.
Yes, it most definitely is.
So we're moving the motion to adjourn the house.
yes.
All right, so see you guys here. Watch yourself. This one is not done. And they still have this one going on.
So we're moving the motion to adjourn the house.
Yes. All right, so see you guys here. Watch yourself. This one is not done. And they still have
Which one is that?
You get the name? People National Party News.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for streaming us, and one of our sisters streaming station on YouTube. And we do this every Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. So join us next Sunday when we will convene our TikTok Parliament.
All right, blessing everyone. Thank you to take time out of your busy schedule. House Speaker, House Leader, all members, well informed. It's an informative program. I want to continue as we go on. Blessings to Jamaica and our people.
Thank you.
Thank you, House Leader. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Thank you, Member Bratt. Member Excellent. Minister of Information. Thank you. Thank you to all the streamers. You know, as Member Excellent says, we don't claim that we have all knowledge. We are just having conversations, and from conversations, questions and answers, then hopefully
Please, that you sit down for the triangle.
we'll get the right
Yeah, wait for me.
solutions.
Madam Speaker, could you mute your phone, please?
You remember the phone?
Go ahead, member. Sit there. Member, sit, go ahead.
Yes, I was thanking the House Leader, Madam Chair Lady, Deputy Chairman, Member Bratt, Member Excellence. Thanks for another intriguing night of, robust conversation, prodding and digging and looking at the facts and making recommendations that can help with building back Jamaica stronger than before. Thank you. Good night. Until next TikTok Parliament.
Thank you. Thank you. So that should conclude our deliberation for this evening. Everybody have a good night. Keep warm, keep dry. Those are you in the tri-state, I know you're under snow.
And the white girl.
Yeah, get the heat around.
I love to see it though, Uncle Blair. I love
Yes.
to see. I don't like it staying around, but I love to see it on the rooftop in the morning. Wake up and look out. I hope I don't fall tomorrow when I go out there.
We're gonna have a white Christmas. Started early.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys keep it up there. I don't want it in Atlanta. Last year we had an inch, and it was hard because we don't know how to deal with it down here.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, we can't get away from it, Right. We can't get away from it. But
The temperature was so warm yesterday.
yeah,
Bipolar, New York would have bipolar.
yeah.
Warm yesterday and then today. I mean,
I went to work for an hour yesterday. I was hoping to go back this morning, but when I heard the weather forecast, late Saturday, early Sunday, white snow will continue. What it is.
Right now, what I do is flood out.
Flood?
Yeah, family. I've just really come up to join you just to say that Jamaica's got a protest happening down there tomorrow. And I think it's only right that we encourage him as best as possible and those within our network to join in order to keep the revelation going insofar as us attaining this revolution, which is so necessary. Yeah, so big up Daniel and all of us who obviously share this ongoing concern in order to make what is in this time the judgment. It's all that big extended family. Yeah, so just respect and enough love. One love, one Jamaica.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to us. Puta, we don't need anything to buy. We're not buying any pussy bag. Please.
But you can keep this on. We are We have us though. We are
Yeah,
coming.
guys, the sun will be boiling hot tomorrow morning. Don't think
It's
so
not
we
the
don't
sun.
have sun.
Puta is not the sun, you know. You get sunlight. It's not the sun.
It's the
I'm
sunlight.
coming for it.
It's the
I'm
warmth.
coming for it very soon, Puta. Worry yourself. And the whole of we are gonna link up. All right, so blessings everyone. You know, enjoy the rest of your night.
Just to say thanks to those on the Far You page, those who in the chat, those on the panel, those who tap the screen, those who make a comment, and for those who are listening over on YouTube.
Yeah, you know, it
Always
is
love.
so, it is so, they just decide to give us some free publicity. You know, Daniel, it goes to show the magnitude of where you can reach.
No, but we already established that based on how we start this platform from day one. So it's just we to put the necessary program in place and set the date and then launch it. We get the support.
Yeah, man, because if you look at it, you have people who believe, you know, it is that failure parliament that they started.
That people are listening to you guys because we have factual information and you guys are very informed.
That failure parliament that they started trying to copy us, it only lasts one session.
And Jonas is watching you guys on a Sunday. Trust me.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. One of the circuits might.
Into the comrade leader, Comrade Mark Golding, might have been tuning in also. Good evening, Comrade Mark Golding. Good evening.
And we also want to wish the lovely Mama P a happy belated birthday. Want to wish her a happy birthday. Stay in good spirit.
Happy
Hope
belated.
the Lord bless and keep Mama P regardless,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, man, you know that our stepson, Mr. Miller, he was on my live yesterday, you know.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know. Yes, man. He went to visit them and also speak on behalf. You know, he's this going to do a number of stuff, you know. But we all know what it is.
Exactly.
And I'd also like to extend belated birthday greetings to Isaac Buchanan.
Okay.
Right, the
Yes.
big boss breaker, big up yourself.
He shared, I think he shared birthday with Mama P. If I'm not, yeah, I think they share birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And
You know, one of my thing is that I think ISAT should really chronicle his journey in a book.
Hold the excellent. Footer, the year of son. Now we want happy birthday. Footer, what is wrong with you? Eh?
Like
Now you want
attention.
happy birthday wishes I the year of son.
More attention, give him it.
Yeah, Footer.
Happy birthday, Footer. I don't know if your foot big or not. I don't know why you name yourself Footer.
Happy belated.
Yeah,
Footer, Footer is a contributor that I like listening to. That I love listening, that I enjoy listening to.
Okay, can I share with the family that it was my grandson's birthday yesterday, and you know,
Happy birthday to him as well.
Happy birthday. Belated
the
birthday
party
to
and
the
I'm guilty for not having made it. Yeah, but that's what happens at times with community work. You sacrifice so much. I'd like to report also that we had on Friday we had our second militia meeting over in North London. So that is out there on the platform if you care to visit to see what is happening. And some of the soldiers will be on the ground shortly in order to carry our wishes, because we are concerned that we are not able to do what would be normal procedure to send things in the normal way.
And in addition to that, I look forward to listening in order to bring up some solutions. But the acronym to which I represent is about real active structured supported solutions. And that is what is necessary. So I
Well,
look forward to working with you.
yesterday was my daughter's birthday as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Happy
Happy
belated
birthday,
to your daughter, right?
I know you could have been. I know you could be listening. I know you generally sneak up on the live your father is on. Happy birthday, my beautiful daughter. You know, Dad love you like life itself.
Respect enough, love,
I love you. And there's something that come out of daddy mouth as a daddy's girl.
You know, as I was saying, to chronicle the story. You know, at 47 years old, 7 years at the bar.
Shall we observe a minute silent for him at the start of the program? Tell the market.
And 7 years at the bar. Many lawyers who have done decades. They are like,
Yeah, Marsha, we have done that and we have observed and paid respect and all to you.
have not gone where Isaac have gone. Isaac have gone Privy Council, TCJ. Isaac have done so much in his short tenure at the bar as a junior counsel, because 7 years at the bar, you're a junior counsel. And you know, after doing time in prison, and as Darrell would say, in the word of Darrell, I have to use Darrell, Darrell would say a two-time ex-convict. To turn around to become a human rights advocate, human rights lawyer, active lawyer, activist, going to the Privy Council with 6 years basically, a little bit at the bar. Very junior counsel. Going to the CCJ, winning landmark cases in Jamaica. And then finding himself in the House of Parliament, overturning somebody who was there for 6 years. It shows how great a contribution, how great it is never to give up for your child or your children. And I hope I start at some point will chronicle it in a book, so as to inspire many more generations to come.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those sentiments also.
I do agree with that, member. And I think he's doing a good job in making sure, you know, he keeps refreshing that story every time that he gets on his live. Content matters. And whenever time he speaks, he always, you know, go back to it. And I think he's deliberately doing it to say, hey, this is what is possible. Never give up. And more Jamaicans need to hear that. More and more, you know, young men who have has brushes with the law, you know, or whatever circumstances they might find themselves in, they can say, you know, there is more to me than my current situation, and or I have a goal and I will not give up. So yeah, he should do a book, but I think he's doing an exceptional job of telling the story, you know, every time he gets on. Because I try to follow, you know, whenever time he's on and listen to his story.
Yeah, as I'd said, I'd like to echo what had been shared, and I do believe that that does have a special purpose. It also made mention of his maroon route. I see him as the fire that is coming from the east, in the journey that had been taken by Paul Bogle and others in relighting the flame and to be that pillar of hope for the generation to come, when we reflect that it is on the shoulders of our ancestors to which